Most people think wealth begins with six figures, or maybe with $1 million in the bank. But here's the truth. The game changes much earlier. At just $20,000, money stops being survival and starts becoming freedom. We all know that feeling of constantly checking your account balance and doing mental gymnastics. Can I afford dinner out tonight? If I buy new tires for my car, does that mean I'll be eating frozen pizza for the next 2 weeks? This endless calculation is the weight of financial scarcity. But there's a hidden number that quietly flips that reality on its head. It's not flashy like a million. It's not the celebrated six figures you see on social media. It's a much smaller milestone that most financial experts rarely mention: $20,000. Think of your financial journey like swimming in a river. At first, you're in shallow, rapid water. Every movement feels like a struggle just to stay afloat. But once you push past a certain point, the current starts working with you, not against you. That's what $20,000 does. It's the moment when the flow begins to carry you forward instead of dragging you back. The reason this number matters isn't just math. It's psychology. When your savings are near zero, your brain is locked in constant defense mode. Every expense feels like a crisis. Every decision feels like life or death. But as soon as you cross that threshold, something fundamental shifts. You're no longer asking, "How do I survive until Friday?" You start asking, "How can I grow from here?" That is the hidden doorway to real wealth. And most people walk right past it without even realizing it exists. Before 20,000, every dollar feels like oxygen when you're gasping for air. You accept the first job offer, even if the pay is terrible, because you can't risk waiting. You put up with toxic bosses or stressful hours because losing that paycheck feels like falling off a cliff. You say yes to things you don't want to do simply because you can't afford to say no. This is what psychologists call survival mode. It's not just about being cautious, it's about your brain being hijacked by fear. Imagine trying to plan a road trip while your car is overheating on the side of the highway. You can't think about where you want to go next, you're just trying to keep the engine from catching fire. But crossing the $20,000 mark is like finally pulling into a safe rest stop. For the first time, you can breathe. You're not constantly haunted by the thought that one flat tire, one medical bill, or one bad week at work could wipe you out completely. With that breathing room, your mind shifts. Instead of asking, "How do I make it to the next paycheck?" you start asking, "How do I put this money to work for me?" Research even backs this up. Studies show that having just a couple $1,000s in emergency savings already lowers financial stress significantly. Push that to several months of living expenses, often around $20,000 for the average household, and your well-being improves even more. Not because you're rich, but because you've bought yourself the most valuable currency of all: mental space. This shift is massive. It changes how you see opportunities, how you negotiate at work, how you react to problems. 20,000 doesn't make you wealthy overnight, but it frees your brain from the prison of survival. And once your mindset escapes that cage, everything else starts to accelerate. Before we dive into how the math actually accelerates after $20,000, if you're finding this helpful, hit the like button. It helps the channel grow, and it tells YouTube this is content worth sharing with more people who need it. Thanks. Now, let's get back to it. Here's where things get exciting, because the $20,000 milestone isn't just psychological, it's mathematical. Think of building savings like climbing a steep hill with a backpack full of rocks. At the start, every step feels heavy, and you wonder if you'll ever reach the top. But once you crest that hill, gravity flips. Suddenly, instead of pushing against you, it starts pulling you forward. That's what happens after 20,000. At the beginning, saving your first $20,000 feels painfully slow. If you're setting aside $1,000 a month and earning a modest 8% return, it takes roughly a year and a half to get there. 18 months of sacrifice, saying no, and holding back while it feels like everyone else is spending freely. But here's the twist. Your second $20,000 doesn't take another year and a half. It comes faster, maybe in 16 or 17 months. Why? Because that first pile of money is no longer just sitting there. It's multiplying quietly in the background, adding its own fuel to your journey. By the time you're building your third block of $20,000, The timeline shrinks again. Your money is carrying more of the load while you're putting in the same effort. And when you get to bigger numbers, $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, the acceleration feels almost unreal. What once took years now happens in months. It's not that you suddenly found a secret investment only for the rich. It's just math working at scale. Earning 10% on $2,000 gets you $200. Nice, but hardly life-changing. Earning that same 10% on $20,000, that's $2,000 in growth without lifting a finger. That's a tax refund, a new appliance, or an entire vacation, created by money that worked while you slept. This is the moment compounding stops being an abstract idea from a finance book and becomes a force you can actually see in your own life. Money doesn't just sit in your account. It changes the way the world interacts with you and the way you interact with the world. Before 20,000, every setback feels like a storm that could sink your boat. The car breaks down? That's a financial emergency. Your laptop dies? That's weeks of stress trying to figure out how to pay for a new one. Your rent goes up? That's panic, scrambling to make it through the month. But after 20,000, those same events become inconveniences, not disasters. You can fix the car, replace the laptop, or cover a rent hike without your entire life unraveling. The storm still comes. But now, your boat has a stronger hull. Even more powerful is how opportunities suddenly appear where before you only saw threats. A friend mentions starting a business. Now you can consider whether it's worth putting some capital in. A property deal comes up. Before, you'd scroll past it in envy, but now you can run the numbers. A conference could boost your career, but your company won't pay for it. Now you can invest in yourself. This is what people really mean when they say money goes to money. It's not luck or conspiracy. It's that having savings gives you the freedom to choose. And choices create opportunities. The same shift happens at work. With zero savings, you're chained to your paycheck. Your boss can pile on demands, deny raises, even disrespect you because you need that job more than it needs you. But with 20,000 set aside, you suddenly have what's often called walkaway money. It doesn't mean you should quit recklessly, but just knowing you could changes everything. You negotiate with more confidence. You ask for raises without fear. You push back when things are unreasonable. And here's the irony. Most of the time, you don't even need to touch that money. The confidence it gives you changes your presence, and people notice. Suddenly, you're offered better projects, more recognition, and yes, more money. 20,000 may not buy luxury, but it buys you something far more valuable: power over your own decisions. Here's where many people stumble. They finally reach that $20,000 mark. They feel the relief, the confidence, the freedom, and then they celebrate by tearing down the very foundation they just built. It often starts with a car. After months or years of discipline, they tell themselves, "I deserve it." They trade in a reliable used car for a shiny new one with a big monthly payment. But here's the problem. That reward is really a chain. A brand new car loses thousands in value the moment you drive it off the lot. You're not just spending money. You're actively burning wealth. Or maybe it's a vacation. 2 weeks in paradise, paid for with the savings that took years to build. It feels amazing in the moment, but when you come back, reality hits. The money's gone, and so is the safety net. Others take it even further. They use the $20,000 as a down payment on a house far beyond their means. It feels like progress, like the grown-up thing to do. But what they've really bought is stress, debt, and a lifestyle they can't sustain. Here's the truth. That first $20,000 isn't a trophy to spend. It's the seed of everything that comes after. Plant it, and it multiplies into financial independence. Spend it, and you're right back where you started, paycheck to paycheck, trapped by stress. Think of it like chopping down a young tree for firewood. Yes, it gives you warmth for one night, but if you let it grow, that same tree could build a house one day. The milestone isn't the finish line. It's the foundation, and if you guard it, feed it, and let it grow, it will transform your entire financial future. Once you reach $20,000, something subtle but powerful shifts. You stop obsessing over every coffee, every snack, every tiny expense. Because now you understand that wealth doesn't live in the $3 decisions. It lives in the big ones. When you were broke, you agonized over name brand cereal versus generic. Now you see the truth. Those choices barely move the needle. What matters is where you live, what you drive, how much you save, and where you invest. The big levers can swing your net worth by tens of thousands over time, while the small ones are just background noise. This mindset shift is liberating. Instead of draining your mental energy on pennies, you start directing it towards strategy. Should I negotiate harder on housing costs? Should I pick up skills that could double my income? Should I move my money into better investments instead of letting it sit idle? This is where the concept of opportunity cost comes alive. That new $30,000 car isn't just $30,000. It's the $200,000 it could have become in 2 decades if invested instead. Suddenly, the older Honda in your driveway doesn't feel like a compromise. It feels like a weapon, a tool funding your freedom. The same thinking applies everywhere. Vacations, hobbies, even education. It's not about denying yourself joy. It's about choosing joy that doesn't rob your future. Because once you've seen compounding at work, you can't unsee it. Every dollar becomes a worker. And the question is, do you let them multiply or do you fire them for something that won't matter 5 years from now? And here's the irony most people miss. The flashy spender, the one with the luxury car and constant upgrades, often lies awake at night stressed about bills. Meanwhile, the one who plays it smart, who delays gratification, who keeps that $20,000 safe and growing, sleeps peacefully, knowing freedom is compounding in the background. This is the point where money stops being just numbers. It becomes a lens, a way of seeing every decision not as, can I afford it today, but as, what will this cost me tomorrow? Here's the part most people never understand. $20,000 doesn't make you rich. It doesn't buy you luxury cars or beachfront property. What it buys is something far more valuable: control. Before $20,000, life feels like a series of reactions. An unexpected bill shows up and you scramble. Your boss piles on work and you can't push back. Opportunities pass by and you just watch them go. You're surviving, not steering. But after $20,000, the script flips. You start making intentional choices. You turn emergencies into inconveniences. You turn opportunities into stepping stones. You start shaping your life instead of letting life shape you. This milestone isn't about the number itself. It's about what the number represents. It represents proof that you can delay gratification, proof that you can build discipline, proof that you can control money instead of letting it control you. That identity shift is bigger than any paycheck. Because once you've proven you can save $20,000, you've proven something else. You can save 40. You can save 100. You can build wealth that grows beyond anything you once thought possible. 20,000 isn't the end of the journey. It's the doorway. And what you choose to do once you step through will determine the rest of your financial story. Money isn't just a tool for spending. It's a tool for freedom. Every dollar you save today is a silent worker that never clocks out. It shows up tomorrow, and the next day, and the next year, building a future where you control your time, your choices, and your life. The first 20,000 is proof. Proof that you can sacrifice. Proof that you can stay consistent. Proof that wealth isn't built by luck. It's built by discipline, one choice at a time. So the real question is this: if 20,000 can change the way you think about money forever, what could 200,000 or 2 million do for you? Your future self is already waiting for the answer. If this video helped you see money differently, make sure to like it, share it, and subscribe for more stories that reveal how money really works. And if you want to go deeper, don't stop here. Click on one of the videos on your screen right now. Each one will take you further into the strategies, history, and mindset shifts that can change the way you build wealth forever.